Hello everyone and welcome to another DIL concept analysis, a series of videos where I discuss about upcoming Dinosaur arts released for Evrima. Today we will explore Megalania, its real-life counterpart, and how it's going to be in the future. So without further ado, sit back and enjoy the video. Varanus priscus was a giant species of monitor lizard that inhabited the gorges of Australia during the Pleistocene era until their extinction 40,000 years ago, making this animal not only the first non-Mesozoic creature in the Isle, but also the youngest, being so recent that Neanderthals were still alive in Europe when Megalanians still populated the southern hemisphere. Varanus belonged to the Varanidae family, a group of carnivorous lizards that date all the way back to the late Cretaceous, around 80 million years ago, to the present day. These reptiles are among the most intelligent lizards in nature, with the addition of possessing unidirectional pulmonary airflows, which includes air sacs similar to birds, which turns them into very proficient long-range pursuers due to its very high stamina. Megalania was the largest of its kind. So large in fact that at 23 feet in length and 1,300 pounds, they were the largest terrestrial lizards in the entire history of the planet, being large enough to possibly prey upon big herbivores at the time. Much like some current venereid lizards like the famous Komodo dragon, Megalanias were venomous. However, in many years in pop culture it was believed that such aspect of these creatures was due to the numerous types of deadly bacteria present on their saliva, but in fact that's actually not the case. Komodo dragons, and consequently Megalanias, had toxic oral glands inside their jaws. Their specific venom was named hemotoxin, an anticoagulant that severely increases the bleeding in open wounds, leading their prey to systemic shock. Since Megalania was not part of the Legacy's roster, that portion of the video was skipped entirely. Fortunately for us, the concept is packed with information, so let's not waste any more time and jump straight into it. Right at the top we can see that Meg was able to successfully ambush a Tenonto and attack it, however in the end the prey manages to escape. Knowing that Tenonto is such a small dinosaur, and despite being completely caught off guard it still manages to free itself and flee, the logical conclusion from this is that Megalania's bite force is extremely weak for something its size. This hypothesis is supported by their exclusive mechanic, venom, which seems to work exactly the same way as its real-life counterpart does, an anticoagulant toxin that heavily increases bleeding. In this image it is clear that the venom is utilized mainly to pursue their target, but seeing their lack of damage from the previous illustration, it is plausible that it also deals a significant amount of damage. One aspect that it's emphasized in the entire concept is Megalania's maneuverability. Running, swimming, climbing, being able to enter burrows, making it the first creature able to overcome every environmental obstacle. However, tree climbing specifically seems to be a juvenile exclusive feature, since this illustration shows that adult Megalanias are unable to climb entirely. This is the first time we see a mechanic exclusive to juvenile stages, which not only is something that the community was waiting for a long time, it is also an excellent idea to flesh out the growth system. Giving extra maneuverability to their early stages of life increases their chances of survival, or at the very least gives the player extra options to help them survive. In this case specifically, young Megalanias actually have a completely different playstyle in comparison to their adult versions, being a tree-dwelling egg-stealer from the long-distance pursuer they will eventually become. This completely changes the growth system for them, giving players access to areas or activities that they will not have in the future, going as far as even having a different way to play the creature in question. However, we must have caution with this. Exclusivity is a tricky thing and requires design knowledge to be done well. The way this is being done with Megalania specifically can, in theory, have some negative side effects. Having two very distinct playstyles during its growth cycle can hurt the player's progression in understanding how the creature works. For example, let's say that an experienced player starts playing as Meg. They will learn how to climb trees and over time learn how to use that to its advantage in both survival and hunting. However, as it grows, Megalania's climbing capabilities become to worsen until it's no longer possible. At that point, the player's knowledge of that specific animal is completely thrown out of the window, and now, as an adult, they need to learn how to use Meg all over again, having to deal with new mechanics and habits that weren't experienced before. The solution for this, and what I'm hoping it will happen, is making the transition between playstyles extremely smooth so players have time to adapt to the new way of play while still having the exclusive features that being a juvenile provides. If they manage to do that well and that feature is well received, our hopes of other animals getting the same treatment will be much higher. When it comes to Megalania's adult form, being an off-road venomous stalker is different enough to the Dilophosaurus for them to not clash too much, although being also able to enter burrows is a bit too much in my opinion. At this point, almost half the carnivore roster can either enter burrows or dig dinos out of them, which begs the question of why having burrows in the first place if they feel more and more like traps the more carnivores are introduced. But that's a question for another time. The fact they don't deal large amounts of damage is a good balanced decision and also promotes the playstyle Afterthought is considering for them. It wouldn't be a surprise seeing Meg adopting a scavenger mindset as well due to its lack of combat capabilities, but when it comes to actual hunting, Megalanias could be an excellent animal to introduce bleeder/venom playstyles shared with Troodons, Dilos, Allos, Gigas and others. Having that low damage output would force the player to be patient and learn to use scent and other adjacent mechanics to track their prey down, even if it's out of sight, making them better hunters overall. But what do you guys think? Are you happy with Megalania's design? Share your thoughts and opinions down below. If you want to watch previous concept analysis, there will be a playlist available in the end credits. If you are also interested in discussions about the Isle and its future, check out the rest of my content. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and the content I create. If you want to join the ranks, the link will be in the description. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down below, join our Discord server for memes and paleo nerd stuff, and hope to see you next week.